Welcome to the Guided Podcast, where we support you to find the courage to listen and act. I'm Amanda Goolsby, and with me is
Allie Katz.
Let's get started. Welcome back to the Guided Podcast. In this week's episode, we are going to share the importance and the wisdom that both of us have learned from our journey to not do it alone.
Don't go it alone. You don't have to go it alone.
Do it alone. Allie, you have had many times, I know, as I have in your journey, where you have decided, you know what? I want to shift something in my reality, or I want to improve my health, or I want to make a significant up level in my business. And one piece of advice that you have shared with me when it's come to making a change or creating any sort of result that you want in your life is what?
Hire help, get support. Don't go it alone. And I think that I really first started to discover this when I was at the big law firm and I didn't like my job and I didn't know what to do, and I ended up hiring my first coach. This is 20 years ago now, when coaching was not a thing in the world. People didn't really have coaches. Today, everybody has a coach, right? Everybody is a coach. But back then, it was still really strange. And I hired this coach, and we spoke about that in a prior episode. And she really helped me to see what I couldn't see. And I've followed that through the rest of my life. Every time that I've wanted to make a big change, I've hired the support to help me be able to do that. Currently, the way that looks is that I am raising capital for my business for the very first time. Up until now, I've bootstrapped all of my businesses, meaning that I have always earned the revenue that I needed to hire the support that I needed to grow the business, or I leveraged credit, but it was all through my own bootstraps. I never borrowed money from anybody else. I never
had investors.
I never got venture capital. And I've hit a place of growth in my business now where it's clear that for us to go to our next level and to invest in the high level leadership team that we need, the technology that we need in order to be able to scale. And we're very ready to scale. We have about 550 lawyers now that are licensed in my methodologies, and we want to go to thousands. And in order to do that, and in order to hit our goals, we need to be able to bring on high level leadership, and we need to bring on another level of technology support. And we need to bring on some innovative strategies that I've come up with that are going to require investment before we have the revenue coming in. And so that means we need to go to outside investors. And I've never done this before. And so I've hired basically a whole team to support me. I am bringing on a coaching program. I'm entering into a coaching program, an 8-week coaching program specifically for people that are raising capital. I've hired a private coach, a woman who sold a number of businesses in the past, and she's helping me to develop the strategy and the narrative and the deck. I've hired a storyteller. I've hired a lawyer. So I have a whole team that now are all focused on helping me to raise this capital. And it makes sense that I would do that, because when I hit the goal of raising $5 million, the investments that I'm making to get there will probably invest about between $50,000 and $100,000 when all is said and done, between the legal and the crowdfunding platform that we're using and all of the technology and all of the support that I'm getting. It'll probably be somewhere between $50,000 to $100,000 of investment. But that makes sense in order to be able to raise $5 million. But it even made sense for me to invest, I think it was $395 a month 20 years ago, to get the coaching support that I needed to be able to get clear on, oh my God, how am I going to love my life as an adult in the working world? I didn't have the clarity that I needed. And I can see now, looking back, that there was no way that I was going to be able to get that clarity just talking to my friends, just talking to my colleagues, just talking to my spouse. I needed the outside perspective of somebody who wasn't in my life and wasn't so close to the situation to be able to help me to see what I couldn't see. And so I think that's always a great path is to recognize we don't have to go it alone. There's so many professionals that are ready and waiting to support you. Another current investment that I'm making is in my health and well-being. And so I've hired a naturopath. Maybe he's not really a functional medicine doctor to do all this testing and to interpret the tests. And I've hired a trainer to work with me and make sure that I'm doing my workouts and I'm doing them in the right way. And I'm doing them so that they're going to lead to the results that I want. The reality is that without these people supporting me, I probably would not make the change that I think that I want to make. And I'm curious, how has that shown up in your life, Amanda?
Yeah, similarly, over the course of the last almost decade from when I hired my first high performance coach, executive coach, as I was growing and scaling a high performing organization, investing in support has been a huge aspect of being able to create progress faster with less obstacles, with less questions of how I'm going to get to the outcome that I want to get. And by receiving support, by asking for support, by being open to investing in ourselves and or our businesses, but especially first, I think it often comes down to much of your early investment was like your self-development journey. And like before you've made these big investments into your business, you poured a lot of time in investing into yourself. Would you say that that's correct?
Absolutely. And by the way, I have created this whole model called the Journey to Financial Liberation. And part of the model is teaching you where to invest. And that is the first level of investment. Without question, no matter what, your first level of investment is investing in your own personal development, your own personal growth, your own self-awareness, your own learning to understand yourself and do the healing work that you need to do so that you can start to then either build a business or do work that you love in the world or earn the money that you can be earning once you've done that work on yourself. And so to me, that's always your best investment. Investing in yourself first. Number one, it can never be taken away from you. The investments that you make in yourself, the investments that you make in your growth and in your healing, they're yours forever. No matter what happens in the economy, no matter what happens with the stock market, those investments will always pay off. And then once you've got your healing, once you've got some measure of healing, you don't have to be all the way healed in order to do what's next. But once you've got some measure of healing, some measure of self-awareness. In fact, my daughter is 23 and she already has a coach. She's working with a coach. And I see how it has already started to change her life, the decisions that she makes, the lens that she looks through as she's making her decisions, how she charges for her services. Because there's this person that is helping her to see things in a way that this coach is probably telling her all the same things that I've told her. But she's not going to hear it from me. She needs to hear it from this professional. And so often that's the case, even with ourselves. And so I say that's your best first investment. And you want to be making, I think, that investment before you're making any other investments, certainly before you're investing in the stock market or crypto or anything else. Invest in yourself, get the support that you need to even be knowing what questions you should ask. There's things that I'm discovering in this capital raise process that there's no way I would have even known to think of. So
it's like the statement of you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know, but somebody else knows what you don't know. And if you can get the support from that somebody who's already been there and done what you want to do, it's going to shortcut your process. And I want you to remember this. Money is infinite. You can always make more money. Your time, energy, and attention are not. They are your non-renewable resources. And so if you can shortcut your time and use less energy and focus, laser focus your attention, and therefore speed up your path to the results, you'll be able to get to more money. You'll be able to make more money because you can always make more money. It's an infinite resource available. And so never let yourself believe that hiring the support you need is going to be a bad investment. Now, the question does become, how do you know that it's really the support that you need, that you're getting it from the right person? And I will say there's a number of investments that I've made that were not with the right people, or they seemed on the surface to be not with the right people. But even those investments paid off. because sometimes I learned how I don't want to do something. Sometimes I learned how I don't want to be in the world. And that in and of itself was extremely valuable because it saved me from going down a whole path that I didn't want to go down. But I wouldn't have known that unless I had seen it through the eyes of this other person. Have you had investments that you made where you're like, oh, should not have hired that person?
Absolutely. Yeah. And an opportunity that exists when we make an investment is to find the gift and the lesson in every single investment that we make, even if it doesn't turn out the way that we thought it would. I'll give you an example of this in my own experience. There was a period in my life where I got into a group coaching container that was specifically presented as for business building. But what it really ended up being was trauma healing and doing deep inner work. And as we know, deep inner work often affects the outer world, right? And it often affects the ability to create outwardly. But I went in thinking that I was going to actually learn some skills around building this specific aspect of an online business. And I didn't. However, there's one session that changed my entire life because I was holding on to some really intense shame around something that had happened in my life. And about halfway through the container, there was a group call where we got asked, share one thing that you're holding the most shame around and share it with everyone on this call right now. And the amount of freedom that was on the other side of sharing that with the group was worth the entire investment, even though I didn't learn anything that I thought I was going to learn in the container.
Let's just look for a moment just to give people some eyes wide open perspective on maybe, I mean, it turned out perfect, but at the same time, how was it that was what the container was promising, was business building, and it ended up being trauma healing?
I've seen this happen multiple times where it either comes down to the person that's running the program, the container, the offering, the coaching has not just come into the truth of what they're really here to do. Like, this is what I really offer. This is how I really help people. And they haven't gotten to a place where they can stand behind that and believe that they can charge the amount of money that they want to charge for it. So instead, they put something in front of that. You're going to learn this, or you're going to experience this, or and that's not actually the truth of what it is. And yet they can self-justify because this is my story. They can justify because it is all interconnected in some way. Like, you doing the inner work often does affect your ability to build a business. Now, I also got to realize that I get to be more discerning on the front end of asking myself better questions around what is it that I'm actually needing. Do I need the inner work, or do I need someone who has a really clear strategy or business model that they're teaching, or fill in the blank? But knowing what we need and being able to uncover, like, how do I actually need support? What is the support that I actually need? Who do I need? Do I need a therapist? Do I need someone that's trauma informed? Do I need a coach that has already done the thing that I'm about to do? Do I need someone who's just a really, really, really attuned, present listener and has the capacity to hold space so that all of me can be seen in a way that I've never been seen before?
Yeah, it's why with this capital raise that I've actually hired the private coach to work with me, because I know that what I need to keep moving forward is somebody expecting me to provide things. Progress, right? So we meet every week, and that means that every week I need to have something ready for the next meeting. I'm doing the same thing with writing my book. I have a book coach that I'm working with where we meet every week, and that means every week I need to do a little bit just to have enough ready for that next call, because I know that with my style of working, with my probably called ADD or ADHD, I haven't been diagnosed, I've got to have a person that I'm accountable to. And ideally, that person that I'm accountable to is also somebody who's already done what I want to do. So they're not just an accountability coach. They're operating as an accountability coach, but they're also operating as somebody who can give me direct guidance and feedback, help me to see the things that I'm not seeing, and ensure that as I'm going down the path, I'm making progress in the direction that I want to go, as opposed to, taking all of the roads that I would have to try otherwise to learn on my own. And so I think the important thing here that we want you to know is that you don't need to go it alone. Now, my question is for those folks that are listening and they're like, I don't have the money to hire support. It's easy for you all to say, you all have all this money. What do you say to people who don't? I mean, I did not feel that I did when I hired my first coach, not feel that I had all this money. My paycheck was coming in, but I was supporting my husband and my kids. And after taxes and insurance and house payment and everything, didn't feel like we had any extra money, but we did. Turns out that we could easily find it. Yeah, we found it. And so, if you are in that situation where you really don't think that you have the financial resource available, well, I would say what you might want to do is really look at where are your financial resources going? What are you spending money on every single month? And it's very possible that you could cut out some things that are not adding value to your life and redirect those resources into getting the support that you need, thereby shifting your focus, shifting where you're putting your attention. Because once you're paying for something, I pretty much can ensure, especially if it's a financial stretch for you, you're going to put your attention there. Another perfect example of this is I had been in the online business world for at least 10, maybe 12, 15 years and knew that I needed to raise my prices. My average price that I was selling online was, I think, $2,500. I didn't have a sales team. I wasn't doing sales calls. I was selling on webinars. And I knew we have to change this. This is way too low. We cannot build a thriving business on the back of a $2,500 sale sold off a webinar. It's great as part of a business model. It wasn't enough for us to really be able to build the team that we needed to provide the service that we wanted to provide. So I ended up paying $9,000 to learn how to run a webinar that led to a sales call. I probably already knew how to do that, but I kept not doing it until I paid the $9,000. And guess what? Then I did it. And our average sale price at that point increased. I think we went straight to maybe $7,500 after that. I would not have done it if I would not have gotten the support. It was years where I knew I needed to do it.
And now a big portion of your business, a significant portion of your business runs from that $9,000 investment. And you have a business that's on pace to do $10 million a year. And it's a core strategy within your sales process.
Everything changed. Everything changed at that point. I knew I needed to change it for years. I didn't do it on my own, even though I knew what I needed to do, probably even knew how to do it. But without making that investment and pulling my energy and attention in that direction, I just didn't. And then once I did, I did. Another even more, I would say, radical example of this is I came across this hypnosis program. And I went through the process, did a sales call with the person selling the program. And again, I think it was something also around $9,000. I think he actually learned from the same people. And so he has this $9,000 program. And in the sales call, I said, well, I need to check with my COO and CFO. I want to do it, but I need to check with them. And he said, wait, aren't you the founder and CEO of the company? Why are you checking with them? And in that moment, just from him asking that question, I realized, wow, I have abdicated my authority in this company. I have created a reality where they're the decision makers. I'm not the decision maker. I don't trust myself to make this investment. Our numbers that month were horrible. I went to both of them at that moment and I said, we're making this investment. I need this investment in order to be able to turn things around. We did it. Everything turned around that month. We exceeded our goals that month because of the energetic decision that I made to take back my authority, to step into my right role, be in the decision-making seat and decide what we were going to do and move forward. And everything changed. I never even went through the hypnosis program. but I got all the benefits. It did require me to make the investment to do it because the investment was just an allocation of resources. And if you look at your resources as time, energy, attention, and money, I call those your team resources. It's all about how you can reallocate your resources toward what you want. And the more you can do that, and the more you can actually even stretch yourself, that's going to pull you. It might push you, but one way or another, it's going to get you to where you want to go much faster than you just spinning around in your own reality, always thinking about what you need to do, always intending to do it, and never doing it. And so my best advice for you is don't go it alone. Hire the support that you need. Direct everything you have towards getting that support, paying for it, stretching yourself, and then directing your time, energy, and attention to follow suit. And you're going to see the change. And so my question would be, what is the next support that you need? What is the next support that you need? Do you have a sense of that for yourself?
It's a question that I've actually been sitting with a lot lately, and that I've been in curiosity around with some of the current investments that I'm in and support that I've been receiving and programs that I've been in, of what is this next season asking for me? So in this moment, I don't have the answer, but it is a part of my current inquiry with myself is what is the next level of support that I need in my life and business?
Well, I will tell you and everybody else, if you have not yet seen the recording of the interview that I did on alignment with Molly and Jana, I encourage you to take a look at it. Watch that recording. We will put a link to it here in the show notes because it might help you to see what is that next level of support that you need. I made a big investment with Molly and Jana in October of 2021. Not really knowing exactly why. And then after the 3-day immersion I did with them, it became very clear all of the reasons why. And we'll tell you the story of that in the alignment recording. And so we'll link that in the show notes. And maybe we'll have a follow-up call talking about it after. Anything else you want to say today about not going alone?
Yeah, it can be these investments that we make, and also be willing to reach within your network. That's why building a network is so important, is that we have the more that you reach and build and create a network of support around you, there is more resources than you will ever need. But so many people are trying to completely do it on their own, including not building relationships and making building relationships and building connections and building community an aspect of not doing it alone. And there have been many times where I have been able to, because of how I've shown up and poured into other people in my life and the relationships that are there in my network, I've also then been able to reap the benefits when there's been things that have come up for me to reach to someone and then been able to be there for me as well.
Yeah, I mean, that part is so critical. Today, I do have a lot of community resources that I can reach to, but there was a time when I didn't. I felt really sad and bad that I needed to pay for support. I felt like maybe there was something wrong with me that I needed to pay for support, but that was just what was true. I needed to pay for support. I didn't have the community network of people that I could reach to. And when I didn't, that's what I needed to do. I needed to pay for that support. What's cool is that I then set the intention and created the reality where I was able to create that community of support very often because of the investments that I made in joining groups and going to masterminds and, various programs that brought people into my life, in cultivating my own ability to connect with people and learn authentic relating and, be able to make friends. And so it could be that you are in a place right now where you don't have that community and you need to pay. You need to use your financial resources to get the support. It could be that you have a community of people that you can reach to, but that community may not be the right group of people. It might be that the people that you're reaching to aren't giving you the support that you need. They're stuck right where you are. They've got negative mindsets. They've got victim mindsets. Sure, they'll hold space for your venting, but then instead of helping you move to the other side of it, they're actually keeping you stuck in the same mental loops that you've been in. They're not actually supporting you to get to the other side of those mental loops. So just really look at, who are you reaching to? Are they invested for some reason in keeping you where you are because that's safe for them, and keeping you smaller than you need to be, keeping you stuck because, again, that's where they are. They may not even be doing it intentionally, but they don't have any tools. They don't know how to help you get to the other side. And just be aware of that if that's the community that you're reaching to. Amanda, I know that you've cultivated an incredible community of healers and practitioners and people who are really doing their own healing work. So it could be that just reaching to your community is the right answer. And I love that you're in the inquiry of what does it mean for you to not go
Thank you
alone.
for listening and being a part of the guided community. As always, we just love knowing what you receive from these episodes. And please, please, please feel free to communicate with us directly on Instagram. Send us messages, let us know feedback, leave us a review so that we really understand what you are receiving and fuel to our fire to just continue to create more. Thanks. We love you.
Bye for now.
If you enjoy the Guided Podcast, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, and be sure to come back next week. Until then, this is Allie Katz and
Amanda Goolsby.
remember, life knows.